It's a warm welcome indeed to the Global Business Podcast to my new friend, Lumbie Mlambo. How are you, Mumbi?
I'm doing great. How are you, Mark?
I'm fantastic, and I'm really excited to have you on the show today because, one, I love your name. I love the name of your organization, and I love what you are doing in the world to make the world a better place. So there is no more perfect guest than you, I think, today. So let's start off by telling everybody, whereabouts in the world are you talking to me from today?
Right now, I'm in Dallas.
Dallas?
Yes, Dallas, Texas, in the U.S.
What a fantastic city. Now, I was just telling you before we came on air today that I also have a travel podcast. So for the sake of all the people that listen to that show and they're coming over to listen to the business show today, why should people come and visit Dallas? What's Dallas famous for?
It's beautiful, and the weather is just lovely, and the people are very nice, and it's just very welcoming. It's like a tourist area, and everybody just loves coming here. I've lived here for more than 30 years, and I love it.
Dallas is a great place, and you're right about the climate. And I think the great thing about Texas is that it's got so much contrast, hasn't it? You can do lots of different things in the state of Texas.
Right. A flat land and just hot. Our summers are really hot, like, in the hundreds of degrees. But once you live here, when you've lived here for a while, you just get used to it. So I feel like, I love it. I love heat. I don't like cold. We rarely get snow and all that stuff here. So I don't like cold weather.
You're a warm weather soul, are you?
Yes.
Yeah, much like myself, I don't like the cold stuff. We're in the middle of winter down here in Australia, and it is bitterly cold every day at the moment, but I won't complain too much. Now, whereabouts did you live before Dallas?
Before Dallas, I lived in Indiana. Mm-hmm. I went to school there and graduated from there. Then I moved back to Texas. Indiana was very cold for me. I don't really like cold weather, so we're like in the negative temperatures, like negative 50, negative 60. And I only got to see sunny days for like 26 days a year.
Oh.
And that was just a no-no for me. I said, no, I'm moving back to Texas.
So you were a happy lady to get back to Texas, that's for sure.
Yes. But before then, I come from Zimbabwe, Africa. Mm-hmm. And that's where I came from. That's where I was born.
Zimbabwe is the jewel of Africa, and we need to get more people going to visit Zimbabwe. I have a good friend of the show, and if you listen to some of my travel podcasts, you'll come across a lady called Dot Becker. Hello, Dot. A shout out to you today. And Dot is a very proud Zimbabwean. She's been on my show a couple of times talking about the beautiful country of Zimbabwe. And we need to get more people visiting Zimbabwe because a lot of people go to Africa and they miss out on Zimbabwe, and they shouldn't, because you should get to the Victoria Falls and all the other wonderful places that there are across Zimbabwe. So there we go. We do a bit of a plug for your country today, Lumbie, and get more people there. Now, one of the things that I do on my show is I offer you the opportunity to dedicate this show to someone special in your life. So who would you like to dedicate your show to today?
My family, my husband, and my children, they're very special to me because they understand what I do. The nonprofit work is not an easy thing, so I dedicate this to them. And also, I want to dedicate this to, I know you just wanted one person, but I also want to dedicate this to Beatrice Davis, who got me on the show. I just want to say, kudos to you, and, I just think that you're the most wonderful person. And this is to you, dedicated to you as well.
That's lovely. Well, I'm going to absolutely accept your two dedications there, because there's nothing better than dedicating to your family. And Beatrice is a lovely lady, and she's doing a wonderful job for all the people that she's helping out in her journey. So I think that's a beautiful dedication. So hello to your family. How many children do you have?
I have 2 sons and a daughter.
2 sons and a daughter, so 3 kids in general. So there we go. They're all going to sit down and watch a show of Mummy talking to this strange man on a sailboat on the other side of the world. So I hope they enjoy it. Now, you are a mother, you're a wife, you're a philanthropist, you're also a president and CEO of a not-for-profit lady. Wow, you are a very busy lady. What's the hardest role out of those ones?
Well, I don't know. I know that being a philanthropist is not easy at all. It's a lot of hustling, and especially now during COVID-19, it's not that easy at all. I think that's probably the hardest.
Okay, I understand that, yeah, and we're going to talk a lot about that. We're also going to talk a lot about the organisation that you lead, which is JB Dondolo, and there's lots of exciting things to talk about that. But before we get on to that, there's probably a lot of people watching and listening to the show today who don't actually know what philanthropy is. So do you want to give us a definition of what philanthropy is?
Philanthropy is when you work in communities, usually it's for free, out of your will, out of your, just giving to the community. Either you give time or money or in kind, just working to improve the community and advance, the needs of the community.
Yeah, very good
definition, but there's probably a better definition in Google.
No, that's a very good definition, and I think what's important to understand when it comes to philanthropy, because there's some pretty well-known philanthropists around the world, and people like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, and the important thing to remember is that we can all be philanthropists. We don't have to be rich and famous to be a philanthropist, and any one of us can go out there and give back in the community. Why do you think it's important that people should give back? Lumbie, why do you think that's an important part of being a human being?
Because life is not guaranteed. We know that we are here for a reason. And I think that just doing things like that, like just giving to people out of your heart, your goodwill, is a good thing, because it defines who we are. We are loving people. It connects us. It makes us better people. It makes us a better world. And that's who we are, if we define ourselves correctly.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of that at the moment, aren't we, where people are connecting in all sorts of new and exciting ways. And I think that's one of the great things about COVID-19. Of course, there's the terrible side where a lot of people are losing their lives and getting infected by the virus, but there's also the positive side of what's we're experiencing. Do you think there's an art behind changing people's social conscious thinking and thinking for others? Do you think there's an art to that? Is there a way that people can be educated into that?
Yes, I think there's a way. I think if we show empathy, people understand. They'll get the point. Because that's how because without empathy, it's kind of hard. And if you show that you're committed and you're dedicated to your cause, and you show that passion, I think people get it. It takes time for some people. It's not an easy thing, obviously. But when people see a pattern, they tend to kind of gravitate to that and kind of start to wonder, what is this? They start to kind of follow what you're doing and become philanthropists as well. And they pick on certain things that they can relate to, that are relatable. So I think it is definitely doable, teachable.
Yeah, good. Okay, that's great. Now, the organisation is JB Dondolo. What got you into the not-for-profit world? What was your journey to get connected to the not-for-profit world?
That's a very good question. Before I considered myself a philanthropist before I started this non-profit JB Dondolo. But now that I look back, I see that I wasn't as much of a philanthropist. And the reason I started this was when my father passed away, and he asked his children, to continue his work. He said that he promised the people at Igosi, a better health. This was a clinic in Zimbabwe that he was working in, and he didn't finish the work there. So, and I thought that was a really nice thing that he was doing, and I wanted to finish up his work. And what a better way, since he was a philanthropist himself, and a father who was loved by a lot of people, and he loved his children, all of us equally. I kind of thought that would be a nice thing to start a nonprofit and name it after my father, JB Dondolo. That was his name. So I named it JB Dondolo Inc.
Wow, fantastic. What a lovely story. And have you got brothers and sisters that are also helping in that journey?
I have brothers and sisters, but as with any family, people have a lot of other things that they're doing, priorities and other, family stuff going on, family issues or whichever way. I mean, they do help in Zimbabwe. Quite a few of them are involved, but not all of them are involved.
Okay, good. So as you say, though, I think it's a personal thing as well. We've all got our lives to live, and everybody, as you quite rightly says, has other priorities sometimes. So tell us about the organisation as far as the projects that it does. What is its main focus?
Well, our main focus has been water. This is something that we stumbled upon. Before we were not even into water at all. We're into just, helping and providing the basic necessities in low income, underprivileged, underserved communities. But we stumbled upon water, and that became our thing, really. We understood that there was a need for water, so we just ran with it. And now, since we're so deep into it, there's no turning back. Everybody loves it, and I love it as well, and everybody in my organization loves it. So recently we started an initiative called Music for Water that was authored by Beatrice Davis. He's a valuable player in this a lot. But Music for Water, which is more of trying to find a song that speaks to a nonprofit, a song that is water inspired. And it's international. It's a competition that is international. Anybody can submit a song, a brand new song that is unpublished. And the top 5 winners get a one-time online distribution deal with an international record label called GMIR, Grand Mountain International Records.
Wow.
Which is a really, really nice thing. I mean, that anybody can actually rise to stardom and just be big, for just doing this. At the same time, I like this initiative because we're helping the Navajo Nation with sanitizers. Most of them don't have water. So Navajo Nation, Arizona, for example, they don't have water. So we can provide sanitizers, hand sanitizers, and disinfectants. So we're working with a company called Disinfectant Shield to provide sanitizers. And our first delivery just happened about yesterday, and the next delivery is happening tomorrow. So we're just excited to do that.
Terrific. Let's talk about the geographical location then of your projects that you're involved in, because you've talked about Zimbabwe, you've now talked about Arizona. So where are the actual projects located that you're currently working on?
The projects are in Zimbabwe. The one in Igosi, some call it. Igosi is a clinic. We haven't actually finished that project because it's a long-term project. It's going to take a while. So we have that in Zimbabwe, and then in the U.S., all across the U.S. really. It's only that this time, this project or this initiative is targeted towards the Navajo Nation in Arizona, but we're not limited there. It could be just all the Navajo Nation in the U.S. because they all need water.
Okay, so water is obviously a very important thing in our lives, and obviously a lot of us overlook the importance of water, and we overlook the access that people have to water and don't have to water. So I guess that's a real main stream activity, excuse the pun, of you and your organisation, is giving more and more people access to water. How do you do that? How do you get more water to people?
That's really the hardest thing. In the example of Zimbabwe, for example, we had to install a clean water system. We had to work with science institutions, and we worked with NAST, National University of Science and Technology, to test the water that was there currently, and the sand and everything around it, so that they could take it to the lab and tell us what was wrong with the water there. And they did that. And then they recommended a system that we could install at Igosi Clinic. So we didn't just kind of second guess. We had to listen to the experts, tell us what system is good for that area. And that's what we did to install the water system. So now for the US, we also want to install a clean water system in the Navajo Nation. So we're working with the engineer that authored or actually came up with the system, and it's scientifically proven. So as with anything that we do with water, we want to make sure that it's good water, people are drinking clean water, and that is sustainable. So that's when we look at the UN, SDGs, sustainable global sustainable goals for water. Because it's not just water. When you could think about water, it's water, sanitation, and hygiene.
Mm.
So those all go together. It cannot just be water alone, because there's got to be a way to dispense. Where does dirty water go, and what do you do after that? I mean, people, kept clean, the sanitization and hygiene.
Yeah, I have a little bit of background and knowledge in this particular area, and a friend of mine in Singapore, where I used to live, is the head of the WTO. Have you heard of that organization before?
Oh, no, it's the first time I've heard of it. WTO. What does that stand for?
That's the World Toilet Organization. And Jack Sim is the man that runs that organization, and he's been on a mission for a number of years now to bring sanitation to countries all over the world through improving their sanitation processes. He's done an amazing job, and he's now a person who's gone very high up in the United Nations as far as helping out sanitation. So I think I might connect you to Jack after the show, and you can have a look at his work, and maybe there's some synergies there on how you guys could work together as well, because he's doing some really great work. I want to go back to the music. I want to go back to the music competition, because this sounds fun. And I actually happen to know a young man in Zimbabwe who's a musician, and he's trying to get his music out to the world at the moment. So what I might do is I might connect you both as well, because you're from the same country, and I know that he would love to write some music for you to help out your cause. So that's something else that we can do. I knew there was many reasons why we were connected today to come on the show together. So there's something else we can do. But for all the people watching and listening today, I'm going to be putting in the show notes all the details of how you can connect with Lumbie. So anything that you hear today that you want to help out with, become a partner, become a donor, or become just a fan and supporter of what she's doing, you can find all the details in the show notes of this podcast today. So Lumbie, let's carry on talking about the sanitation side of things, because it's very important that you're working with experts. How do you find these people? Where do you find these experts from?
Well, through referrals. Like, for example, in Zimbabwe, I was just looking for a way to find out what was wrong with the water. And somebody knew NUST, National University of Science and Technology, and they referred me to them. So I went and met them while I was there in Zimbabwe. And they loved the project. They were like, okay, we're going to go and test the sand and the water and everything around it and take it to the lab. That's how we found them.
Okay.
So this other one that we're working with is an engineer that is here in the U.S. This one was through one of the board members, Rachel Zvitanoff, found one and said, you know what, they would like to donate a water system. And it's a science and an engineer. So I said, well, that sounds great. So connected me to this engineer, and, we're just starting to work on things right now. We're just starting to work on that.
Okay, good. Do you get to go to Zimbabwe very often?
Well, I used to, but with this COVID-19, I was planning to go there this year. Obviously, I can't because they're still in lockdown there, and I have to wait until after COVID-19, because we still have a project there. Like I said, we're starting to work on sanitation. The toilets got flooded and everything at Igusi. So there's no way. They only have like one toilet that is working right now in that clinic. And we need to find a way to work on that. So I was planning to go this year, but I can't right now. Everything is locked down.
So is your organization a 501c registered organization in the US?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And for people listening across the world, can you just explain what a 501c is?
501c3 means that you are tax exempt. It makes it easier for people to donate. or to give to your foundation, because they get that tax write-off and they can, deduct, from their taxes. So without any fear of you losing, saying, oh, I just donated, but that means nothing to you. So it's a good thing. Also shows that, you're giving to the community, you're helping in the community. So that's really what your 501c3 is. You're legal and, exempt from taxes.
Okay, good. Now, have you heard of an organization in the United States called Charity Navigator?
Yes.
You have. And is your organization part of their ranking and assessment system?
I believe we are.
Okay, good. Because my good friend runs Charity Navigator. He's the CEO, Michael Thatcher. Shout out to Michael today. And if you need any connections or support around that, let me know. But it sounds like you're already part of that process of Charity Navigator. And just for people listening today, Charity Navigator is a fantastic organisation. It's a benchmarking and assessment platform that I guess analyses the performance of not-for-profits across the United States and across the world. So if you're looking at an organisation where you want to contribute with the financial assistance, you can find out how they're using their money, what they're doing to make sure that they've got all their regulatory processes in place, because governance of a not-for-profit organisation is a very important part of running a not-for-profit organisation, isn't it, Lumbie? It's a very important part of it all.
It is, but I'm always looking to connect with people, so I would love to connect with your friend at the Charity Navigator company.
Okay, good. Now, let's go back before COVID-19 came over the world, and late last year you would have had all these plans to do all sorts of exciting things with your organisation and travel to Zimbabwe and all of that. So what happened when COVID-19 came along as the president and CEO of the organisation? What strategy did you start to adopt?
Well, we had to kind of rethink the whole thing. We had to rethink of how nonprofits work, traditionally. We had to be open-minded and, adapt to change quickly and almost forget everything that we used to do, how we used to be. And we had to come up with different ways to say, now we have to have a presence online all the time. We had to make sure that our infrastructure, was established and used as a portal so that everybody knows how to get to us and they come to one place for whatever they need. So infrastructure became a big thing on our plate. And also we thought of decentralizing, by, making sure that our messaging, our charity messaging is correct and is clear so that anyone who wants to help or wants to attach to us, can be a change agent wherever they are. We want to meet people where they are, and allow people to share our message wherever they are, because we're no longer thinking about people should donate. It's different because nobody has money right now because people are trying to survive during this COVID-19. So we have to think of different ways of how people give. They don't have to donate to us. Perhaps, they want to, be a change agent and just give somewhere. Give time or, give to a community. Maybe they just want to deliver some water or something like that. So, yeah, we had to really re-strategize and think of how we can just be digital and most of our work digitally.
Yeah. Amazing. So in terms of how the impact came along when COVID came along, was it something that you saw an immediate impact on your organisation and how people were interacting with the organisation, or did it take a few weeks and months for the impact to be really felt in the organisation?
For me, I felt it right away because we were planning an event. We usually have a yearly event. That kind of like put a stop to that event, a charity fundraiser. So it was like an immediate impact. And I knew right then and then that, we have to rethink how we do things. We have to decentralize. We have to strategize, come up with a good strategy for infrastructure. So yeah, I felt it right away.
Do you have a lot of people working in the organisation? How many people are associated with it?
No, not that many. Just a few. I think about maybe 8, 10 people.
Okay, so it's a small workforce, and I guess it also with COVID-19 coming along, it would have impacted all those people in a very individual way. What was the strategy that you used with your people when it came to managing things around COVID-19?
We decided we're gonna use Zoom, like what most people are using. We said that's gonna be the way to communicate, and and just get on Zoom most of the times. Like we are on Zoom like maybe 3-4 times a week or even more. Everything is on the Zoom. We get on all the time.
So for those people that were helping you, whether they be partners or providing financial assistance, what was some of the messaging that came back from them when you contacted them to say, hey, this is what we're going to be doing going forward. We're going to have more of an online presence. What was their feedback to you?
They were happy, actually, that there's a way for them to still communicate with us, because we're not like saying, hey, we're going to shut down. We're just saying, hey, there's continuity here. We do realize that we're helping through this COVID-19. We're fighting COVID-19, but also trying to help people out there who are impacted. And this is how you can help.
So as a business leader, what's COVID-19 teaching you about the skills that you have as a business leader and the flexibility that you need to have during these kinds of challenging times?
It's teaching me to be more understanding of people, because not everybody is going through a difficult time. People are going through a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things going on right now. I can't put myself in someone's position and say, if I'm able to do this, so someone else should be able to do the same. Everybody's going to have their own pace, their own way of doing things right now. But I have to understand, and I just really have to kind of meet them where they are and have empathy and just completely change and know that this is changing us.
How do you think what's going on at the moment is going to change the not-for-profit world? What do you think are going to be some of the biggest impacts for the not-for-profit world?
I think the biggest impact is going to be, we're going to see more decentralization and more of different messaging, so that we're creating more movements, so that it's not just one person within the company telling people what to do, but everyone else is doing the same thing, carrying your message everywhere. They can organize wherever they are. If they understand what the message is, what JB Dondolo does, they should be able to do it wherever they are. There are people who want water wherever they are. You should be able to just say, you know what, I have a case of water that I can just go deliver right now. Or I have sanitizers, hand sanitizers, that I can just go deliver right now. And because that's what JB Dondolo does. So they don't actually have to donate to us if they cannot. They can just, donate wherever they are.
So the message I'm getting is that it's very much about getting out there and making a difference, taking a first step to, help somebody else in their particular life, whether it comes to sanitation or water. Those are the focuses of your organisation. So do you think the online world is going to make it easier in some ways for you to get the messaging out there?
I think it is, because even though we're online, we still use our phones to call people offline, So we still have a way to connect with those people who are not online at all. So I think it's working. It is working.
And this music competition that you've got going, this sounds really exciting. What are the dates in terms of when does it end? What do you hope to see as the outcome of this particular music initiative that you're doing?
Right. So the dates are, we started on August 15, and it's going to go on until November the 1st.
Okay.
And throughout the process, we have like milestones when we announce the top 5 or the top 20 and the top 5, and then the winner. But overall, it's going to end November 1st. And then we have judges as well who are going to be judging the contestants. We're going to have 5 judges. Right now we have 4 judges. The record label company itself, Paolo, the owner, is one of the judges, and Jano Mecca Holmes from the Supernatural Inc. is also one of the judges. And Amanda Abizaid, the artist and musician, is one of them. And Mr. Blanco, the musician, is also one of them. We're looking for one more judge right now who is also an music industry related.
Yeah, okay.
There, we need one.
So there you go. The message is out there. If you are in the music industry and you'd like to be a judge, we can put you in contact with Lumbie to find out how to do that. That sounds really interesting. It sounds like a bit like a America's Got Talent show that's going on in your organisation at the moment, yeah? So you're going to uncover all these amazing musicians. So I'm assuming that anybody in the world can participate. Is that correct?
That is correct. Anyone in the world.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to over 100 countries today. So if you're out there and you are a musician and you want the chance to win this very elaborate prize, which is going to get you a record deal essentially with a label in the United States, then get part of this action, and you will be able to do so by checking out the show notes today. So what other initiatives do you have planned other than this great music thing? Have you got some other things that you're going to be rolling out as well, Lumbie?
Yes, we do. We actually have a new talk show, a radio show called JBD Worthy News with Greg Schwem that we're going to be kicking off as well, where we are sharing our own news and news of the those that support us, news of our supporters, and just any good news, because we know that this time we really, really need good news. And sometimes good news is overlooked. Nothing is reported. So what a better way to start something that is constantly sharing those good news.
Yeah.
And we also have another initiative called Sweet Compassion, where we are going to be thanking our healthcare workers and everybody in the front lines and for what they do, and giving out masks, face masks, water, and what else are we giving? And cookies.
Oh, okay.
We have little boys that are baking cookies.
Whoa.
Teenagers baking cookies, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Fantastic. Well, Mr. Greg Schwem is a very close friend of our show here. He's been on as a guest before. He's a funny man, and I think actually as we're talking right now, he's actually doing a comedy show online to people all over the world, making them laugh. So you've got a fantastic show host in that gentleman, and I love to hear of the other initiatives that you're doing as well. Lumbie, you are a very caring lady, and you've got lots of amazing initiatives going on. So I want to get everybody engaged here, and a bit of a call for action to get behind what you're doing. And whether you're a musician, whether you're a good cooker of cookies, you can also help out. And even if you want to get some water and some sanitization happening for people, you can do that through the organization. For people listening today, Lumbie, who are, let's say, struggling a little bit in their business at the moment, because it is difficult times, not everybody has the upbeat and positive mindset that you do. What kind of advice can you share with people today to help them get through these difficult, challenging times as a business leader?
I would say, think positive, be on the positive side, and just know that things will change. We may never go back to normal, the way things used to look, but there's a way forward. Just be hopeful, and just know that, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. This is not the end of it. We're all in this together. We'll make it through.
Very much so. What about the travel side of it? It's difficult that you can't get on a plane these days and go to too many places, particularly to Zimbabwe at the moment for the reasons that you stated before. How's that affecting your business, and how's it affecting your own personal desire to get over there to your favourite country and to go and visit friends in Zimbabwe?
Well, it's been a challenge, but at the same time, I really do understand that this is a pandemic, and there's nothing much that we can do other than, social distance, wear masks, and just, continue to follow what we're told to do. And it's difficult. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But I just don't know how to get over that. And we just have to wait until we get over this pandemic, and then see what life is like.
So do you have your crystal ball out and you're kind of assessing that, okay, by this time next year we're going to be, much more in the clear and things are going to be, I don't want to say getting back to normal, but getting back to the new landscape? Do you think it's going to take that long, or how are you kind of looking at it from a business leadership point of view?
I'm looking at it, I listen to the health experts. So far it seems like we're not going to be out of this by next year. We're going to start seeing some progress at the end of next year, 2021. And probably we're going to go through this 2022. And probably at the end of 2022 is when the whole world will start seeing something different, to where everybody's saying, hey, you know what? We're starting to have a life now. We're starting to do things that we haven't done in quite some time now. It's going to be a while, I think.
So from your organization point of view, you're kind of battening down the hatches and you're doing all these new things to position yourself in a way that you can manage things online. Any other initiatives that you're coming up with in terms of the way that you're running the business?
Oh, yeah. Yes. We are, I don't know if you call this an initiative, but we are also starting our own face masks.
Oh.
So, so that we can have those online and we can use those also to distribute. We'll probably come up with an initiative. There's something that we're thinking of, water forward initiative, where you're going to give, wherever you are, you can give water out to someone that you feel like, they need water. But that's just an initiative in the works right now. We also have the Voices for Water Awards, where we award people that are water advocates that actually help us to reach that goal and become sustainable, SDG 6, water, sanitation, and hygiene. So we're going to have that at the end of the year. So we're going to start kicking off that to honor those people who are change makers in the community and that are water advocates.
Yeah, beautiful. Where do you see JB Dondalo in 5 years from now? What's the vision for the organization as you continue to expand and grow into all sorts of different areas?
I see us really growing and helping not just in Zimbabwe or the US, but also, helping in most countries, in other countries as well. Kind of expanding, yeah.
Okay, so global expansion is part of the plan.
Right, and like I said before, being decentralized and adapting to changes quickly because we set up the infrastructure correctly, online and all that. So yeah, we'll see where that takes us.
Yeah, terrific. Now, for people out there listening today who haven't spent a lot of time, giving back through any organization or practicing philanthropy, what would you suggest they do as their first few steps into becoming, philanthropic in their life?
I think I usually say that for one to become a philanthropist, you have to put yourself in the shoes of those who are struggling, who are underserved, underprivileged, and just left off the grid and they don't have anything. And visit them, maybe try to watch the videos, since now we can't really visit people or anything. Watch videos online and see what's going on. You'll find that you'll build empathy. Well, build empathy. You'll find yourself just being empathetic about something. Just from watching the videos. It may not be water for you. It may be something else. It may be domestic violence. It may be whatever it is out there. It may be, homeless, hunger. Who knows? You just have to find it, find your purpose maybe, and just get into that. Once you have that, empathy, you're not going to let it go.
Yeah, it's a bug.
You empathize, you know that you gotta get involved.
It's a kind of virus, isn't it? When you get into philanthropy, I know that for sure. Yeah, exactly right. So I think that's really good advice, and I think also during these times where, because it's so difficult for a lot of people at the moment, we tend to look inside ourselves so much more and worry about our own situation. But as you rightly say, there's a lot of people out there today who are finding it a lot harder in life and in the world. So sometimes it's better to look beyond yourself and to look at others and how you can help out. Now, you spoke to me off air before about this is the second podcast you've done, and is podcasting now becoming a way that you as a business leader want to get the message of your organization out there to more people in the world?
Oh, it's definitely one of them. It's definitely. Yes. I was telling you that I was on the Global Health Pursuit with Harold. That was my first time being on the podcast, but I absolutely enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, it is a very good medium. It's a great medium that's very much growing around the world today. I think there's something like 800 million podcast shows out there now across the world. So there's lots of opportunities for you, Lumbie, to be a guest on all sorts of different podcast shows. And I want to thank you very much for coming on my show today and sharing your personal journey in philanthropy, but also telling us about the JB Dondolo organization that I'm going to put all the details in the show notes today. So thank you very much for spending your time with me today and sharing with my audience all the great things that you are doing in the world to make the world a better place.
Well, thank you very much for having me on here. I really appreciate this. And thank you for spreading the word and our message.
You're welcome, and perhaps what we'll do is we'll get you back on the show after the music competition has ended, and you can tell us all about how that went, and maybe we can even hear the music too from the winner of the competition.
Oh, absolutely. I would love that. Definitely, yes.
Terrific. Well, good luck with that, and we're going to connect as many people as we can, and we'll follow up with you in a few months' time.
Thank you very much, Mark, and have a good day.
You too.